It took me about half a day, start to finish, to make that axe from the cheapest axe handle on the internet, Foxy Manufacturing, about 11 bucks, and about a 10 or $15, probably a $15 later model Craftsman head, more in the form of a half wedge than a Dayton. I don't do the proper way to hang an axe. I'm going to show you the way I hung this one, how I tuned that handle to be very comfortable. It's a nice handle. And then how to put those side bevels on, which are there for performance. And I really enjoy doing that to the craftsman's heads now. If you see this and you want to try to do it, I'm sure yours is going to look better than mine. Let's start with a review of the handle and then we'll get on with it.
For the greatest part of my life, we didn't have premium handles. We need a handle for an axe or a hammer or something. We just got it at the hardware store. This will be similar quality. These are Foxy Manufacturing handles. I recommend that you review what you're looking for on their website at Foxy Manufacturing. But that when you go to buy them, maybe you don't buy them from the company directly, because the shipping costs will offset any value that you saved in ordering these economy handles. Now, I got 3 of them, one I'm working on, and let's talk a little bit about what they feel like. They're giant clubs, actually, which is good if you like. I mean, we would have just hung them, we would have just made the head fit and used them. But now that we know something about axes, we're looking for dimensions a lot less than this. You know, this is a little bit, just a tick over 1 inch wide along here. It's exactly 1 there. So you get up to the shoulder. Shoulder gets nice and fat at 1 1/4. When you go this way, it's a little bit over 1 1/2. So that's not unusual. Those are not unusual dimensions for an economy handle. They feel heavy. I don't know why. I don't know if this is mostly heartwood. There's a little bit of sapwood on this one. It just feels kind of heavy. So I'm going to thin that down for sure. And then I was kind of excited when I got them because the grain wasn't too bad on them. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a little bit diagonal. There's not run out in key areas. Most of the grains go full length. So that looks like it'll be okay. This one? Oh, this one feels a little skinnier. I wonder if they're consistent. No, that's 7/8. That's a little bit thinner. I'll have less to thin down. Because you know, my favorite dimensions are from just below the shoulder to the throat back here. I like about 3/4 of an inch. And this way, I like 1 1/8 to 1 1/4. At least 1 1/4. If I go a little bit under 1 1/4, that's fine. That gives it a nice spring to it. And this I'm talking about is a 36-inch long handle. So let's see if that was correct. Hang on. That's exactly 36 inches there. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of nice. Once I get that thinned down, see if I can get some flex in it. Should be all right. It's just a simple, very straight on the bottom here. And got a nice palm swell. Just about medium palm swell. Not thin like a board, but it's also not a great big knob. And the kerfs on all 3 are nice and straight. Have one problem. Trying to put any of my vintage heads on, which is what I would get them for. So I like to test these things. Here's a nice little plain label, Michigan. They don't fit. I don't know if you can see that. You see how much gap there is? I'll show you a closer one in just a second here. That's an awful lot of gap. Now, it's true, as you come back here on the shoulder, they left a big hump back here. you could probably make up for that if you kept bringing it down so that this was up there. I like to put a little taper here so that I'm working into wood as I come down. That's quite a gap that's back there until you get down to here, and then you've got gap in the front, gap in the back. I'm not sure I like that, because then when you're getting up here, it's not. It's probably doable, but then I found out it depends on which head you use. Now here is a great big fat plum. Same problem. That's a lot of gap. I wished I had more tongue, more tenon here to work with this way. So I think what I was going to do with this one is I wasn't going to use this one, because this is going to be a test handle just to see what it's like. We're going to hang this. I was putting this one on. Alright, so let's snap this down and let's get to hanging. Let's hang it and then go use it. So we'll go ahead and knock this on a little bit, see where we're at. And I'm going to look down this for a second, and yep, I see the problem here. It's going on straight, so I'm cutting the knob just where I want it, but it's a little beefy right here. So I'm going to be shaving this down. To get to my 3/4, I know I can work on this side more, because I think the ridge line goes right about here. I'm going to change that a little bit over to keep that tracking straight. This one is not quite a wedge. So it's by this era, man has stopped distinguishing main wedge from Dayton from Yankee. In fact, in the 1970 catalog I showed in another video, they simply mark it Dayton main wedge Yankee, because they're going by the outline, and their flare kicks up pretty sharp right there. But it's a Dayton, and I'm going to give them credit for Dayton too. Now where'd I put my ruler? Is that thing trapped up there? It kind of is. You can tell that's a Dayton because it's got the concave face. That's a Dayton characteristic, where the wedge would have been straight shot from the half wedge, would have been a straight shot from the eye straight down to there, and it could have the same. It would have the same outline. They call it a main wedge, or they call it a Yankee. Okay, let's knock this off. Stop jabbering and get this hung. Alright, so we got that off. And I'm going to start on this shoulder a little bit. Don't know if I love this thing, but I love the finesse stuff with this. For this big monster work here, I'm going to be hacking off stuff. I actually like this new Stanley. Let's do a little more here too. But I actually do think I get better control with this kind of modern. This is not antique. This is new. You can go to Amazon and buy that right now. And it works just fine. Alright, let's see. Put this back on again. Maybe give it a tap so I can find my lines, because I might be getting close. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my golly. I don't know if that's going to show up in the camera. I better take a peek here. We're going right down to that knob, and I took the fatness. It looks even to me now. I have trouble seeing this close up on the back of this little LED screen, but looks to me like that's about where I want it to go. And I can just finesse it now. And as for the extra room up here, oh well, I got wedges. All right. And the bottom part, see, when I made it shallower, now we just get, let me go the other way here. Steady the light, there we go. Now I see I've got a little thicker here. I can see where it's curling up the most is where it's still thick. The rest of it is going in nice, gradual taper. Okay, and we'll see it better here in a second when I knock this off. But we're coming down. I can come all the way down to this hump if I want to. If I do not come all the way down to this hump, I'll take the hump off. I don't want them there. I don't want excess wood here. I want a smooth transition into the handle. I want the handle to carry all of the impact force. The thicker this part is, the weaker that point becomes, the more attractive it is to braking. Okay, let's knock this out. Okay, on that side, really nice. The back, just starting to meet. That side, a little thick here. This side, feeling right. How close did we come? I'm sure we're not 3/4. No, we're not even to 7/8 yet. But I'll make these sides flatter. And this way, we haven't even started working on. That is about a little over 1.5 inches, which is common. Possible in the middle of the eye, just like I do at the top and bottom. Now this part we said you got to take a little bit more off this back. And all I'm doing is making that line disappear. It still slightly, gradually goes into the eye. And the goal is that I'll get a faint line like this right here, all the way around. Tighten that up. Now if I want those parts off, nice thing about draw knives and axes, I can scrape that smooth. And some people like it smoother to see if they can engage the most they can. Let's see what we can do. I'm looking. Bang on. And I'm not saying that because like I'm Australian or English or anything. I'm saying it because I just hit it with a hammer. Oh, that's good. Look what we're doing. Just a tiniest of curl coming up because there's not a lot of slope here. Just a little bit. And we're meeting in the back. And we're meeting in the side here. I'd say go ahead and hang it. Don't want to come down any further than that. The further I come, of course, the shorter I'm getting in handle length, and I like 32. I like 36 just fine. Now we're at 35, and I was listening to, remember we're calling him Coach Cumberland, because he is the internet's axe coach, and he does it for free. So we're just going to call him Coach Cumberland. I hope he doesn't mind us doing that, because he's got a lot of titles. That man, he's got almost all of his educations about woods and wildlife. He's a professional arborist, he's a chainsaw trainer, he's a still sports trainer, a competitor, multiple time provincial champion in timber sports, was a commentator for timber sports, and he's been making axe handles for over 30 years. He might be getting close to 40 years on how long he's been making them. So this is not a Cumberland. This, here son, this is an East Coast lumberjack handle, and oh, I can feel the difference between the two considerably right away. This big old hickory thing, first of all, it's 36 inches long, so that's part of it, but that just feels heavy. This feels light as a feather. Now it's only 28. Hang on, we're going to hang this one too one of these days. One of these days soon, because this one gets this head. So that's what's going on there. Isn't that pretty? That's going to be so cool. And just for comparison, when you get one of East Coast Lumberjack's handles, you're going to start out very close to my ideal width, 3/4. We're at just a 1/16 over. He's already got, he doesn't have a very prominent hump to take off. That's nice. He does in a couple of the other patterns. I didn't bring them down yet. I don't have the other ones down here, because I've got two of the what I have to look it up. Hetherington. Let me look at the caption I put up for that. And then when you go this way, so we're thin, and he's a little bit taller from belly to back at about 1 3/4, and I'll take that down to my favorite 1 1/4 when I work with it, because I found out that works good. It works out better, because remember, it was one of these ash handles that I split down the middle, and it worked better with half a handle than it did with the whole handle. So don't underestimate ash. Oh, I got something you don't got. You can get one too. Just go to his website. Mine is signed. I have an authentic East Coast Lumberjack handle, and it is signed. We will not touch the end of that. I never touch the end of the knobs when I'm working anyways. Alright, so left the faint line again. Why are we going down even further? Because I can. I could stop now. Could use another axe and a pocket knife. Peter McLaren, in that same video, he rehafted one in the field using a hand axe to carve his handle. He split this with a hand axe. He just put a hand axe on the top and just kept hitting it down until it cracked open wide enough that he could get wedges. And for wedges, he used 3 sticks. Just shaved them down and put them in there. Alright, let's see here. How did we do? Are we still straight? Dead straight. Are the handles balanced? Sides balanced? Yep. They need to be thinned, but they're balanced where I like them. How are we doing on the taper here? Very faint line all the way around. Just a hair of curl, which means that's just right. That is just right. And then I don't see that we're exposing too much except for this hump. We don't need this. I'm trying to figure out how much do I want to take off there. I don't need to do it right now. I think I can do that after we hang it. You want to hang it? I think we should hang it. Now, some people will leave that much sticking out when they go to wedge it. I don't, because my wedges I just have factory wedges. I could cut my own, I suppose, and make them long enough to do that. But I don't want to have to be wedging this up here. So I'm going to end up cutting this twice. I'm going to cut it off before I wedge it, and when I'm all done wedging it, then I'm going to cut it again to make it nice. Let me get back in here where my wedge. So I've got a wedge here. Let's see if this is big enough for that eye. But you see, if I leave that tall and I pound this there, I have hardly got any wedge in there. And I need about that much wedge to go in there. So I don't want to be more than, say, bring it up here. See, so I want that much wedge Well, I want that much kerf in there. I don't know if the wedge is going to touch the bottom or not. I'm going to aim for the bottom because otherwise we won't go. So the next thing I've got to do is I want to cut this off as high as I want. Let's go ahead and mark where I'm going to take it down to. Okay. Reach over and get a pencil here. Okay. Now I know that's where the top is. I probably don't want to have to wedge more than this, and then I'm going to end up trimming it again. So let's take that much off to begin with, and then when I get done, from that line I just drew, I'm going to want, well, now how wide is the head? Head's 3 inches. So if I were to go 2/3 of the way down, I just want to go down 2 inches. Okay? So I'll go 2 inches down from that line. The kerf's got to go that far. So we'll take the head off. Let's go ahead and saw that top part off. Then we'll get to hanging. Might want to dress this just a little bit more. And now I want to make that kerf go down. We said 2 inches from that line, and I'm not seeing my line. Oh, there it is. So I know I got to go this far. So he'll go there, and he should be able to go. He'll reach it. So I know that if I have about that much wedge still sticking up, we're good. And I like that, because if I push it down too far, well, then I'll start smashing this too. That's not bad. Peter McLaren, when he put his in that same film I keep talking about, after he wedged his, he hit it a few more times. Smash it. I know, a bunch of people just jumped out of their chairs. You're smashing your wedge. What possible benefit are you getting from a wedge that you're protecting? Why are you protecting the wedge? Now I know some people have decorative wedges, but the wedge's job is to hold the head on. And there's a lot of different things you're doing to try to get that accomplished. Getting it to press into the side. How much wedge do I need? Because you can't just use them the way they come. You have to figure out, do I need that much? So I know I've got just a teeny bit here. I've got the kerf, and I have this bit here. Now how much is that? So it's 2/32, so 1/16. So if I got 1/16, 1/16, 1/16, 3/16, I want at least 4/16 for the top of my wedge. I think that's going to be fine, because this is soft wood. Now, some people, I'm going to stress the point. They go like, oh, if you did this, then you wouldn't break your wedge. Well, what if I did this? This is going to make a better hang than if you're trying to protect your wedge. Alright, let's get her done. The first thing I'm going to do is change the camera angle, I think. But if we're going down here, right there, is that a good spot? We go for right in front of here. Now, any gaps in there, I also have another partial wedge ready, just in case I end up with a gap. How would I end up with a gap? I don't know. Put that one there. Put that one there. How many are freaked out still that it broke the wedge? It's actually easier for brakes after you start it. But now watch what we do. Okay, lost my hammer. Pound on this one. That widens it up for this one. He got stepped down. Widened it up for this one. That little soft wedge is holding up. Not going to be able to go much further. You still see a break? You might when we get done. Alright, now let's get that sawn and take a look at it. Fine cut and saw again. Okay, if you want to turn in there, I'll turn you in there. I'm easy to accommodate. Yeah, I'm going to sit down here and sharpen that saw. So now I just got to do some trimming, some sanding. That's wedged. Okay, so I sanded it. And I don't know if anybody would say that that's an attractive hang. To me, it's attractive because it's going to work. I know I cannot, because that wedge was stepped down, that cannot go farther than that. That is tight. I know that the thinness of the wedge, because I had sanded it down to 5/16 when I needed at least, maybe I thought 4/16, and pounded it till I couldn't pound it anymore. I know that this is fully compressed all along in there. So now we'll watch as I use it to see, can I make that move. And I even used a soft wedge because I prefer hard wedges, especially if I'm doing a wood slasher, because it's got those ridges. Those ridges are vertical wedges into the wood, and sometimes they don't let you push all the way against the eye wall. And the soft wood wedge will fail before the side of the axe is fully compressed against, or the side of the haft is against the side of the eye. And it's just on those vertical ridges. It might leave us a little sliver between them. I don't want a sliver between them. So when I use a hardwood wedge, and then I can force that hickory tight. Oh, and while I got it out, you saw the axe that I was banging the wedges with? I've done experiments on how thin can you make your handles. There's part of thin. How thin can you make them? This little boy's axe on a Craftsman head. Yeah, that's original Vaughn. That's pretty narrow little handle. What do we got here? That came down to, this is a beaver tooth handle. I was mad when I was doing it, and I was, in my head and just going through the motion and realized, oh my golly, Joe, you took it down so far. That is 7/8 inch. And normally on a boy's axe or a forced axe, I'd go an inch and an eighth. I'd be like that. Look how much is missing. And that little sucker won't break. It just keeps going. So we've got plenty of wood. You don't have to worry about thinning it too much. Oh, I guess I better show a little bit of the trimming, because some people like this part too. Oh, on that side, got to pull. I want to make a rough spot. I get down here like this, and I look at it, and I say like, all right, I also want this to be balanced in my hand. So I'm looking down here, and I'm going like, okay, yeah, we're in line, but this side is a little bit fatter on this side. So that's the side I've been taking stuff off over here. We took tons off, and it is starting to feel good. It's about time to get over to the, oh yeah, my hands recognize that. So there's my axe. All right, a little fat right there. Let's play with the handle more later. Yeah, we can do some more of that, the one-handed planing, because now take some of that sharpness off. Where are we? Three quarters, three quarters, three quarters, tick over three quarters as it gets back into here. That's what I was looking for. That actually turned out, let's see if that is going to focus for me. Turned out pretty well. Part 2 shows how I put the side bevels on. I'll put a link here at the end. I'm sure if you try to do this, yours will look much better than mine. I'd love to see what you do with it, because I'm not much of an artist. Otherwise, I'm quite pleased with how mine turned out. Thanks for watching.